is my story. This is my song. I'm going to say that again. This is my story. This is my song. Woo, that sounded good. But baby, this story ain't been that good. This story has been a whole lot, okay? This is a confession of a people pleaser. And I almost asked if I could bring a therapy couch up here because y'all about to get me a free therapy session. I'm about to tell all my business up here. I'm going to tell it like it is. I'll tell the good, bad, and the ugly because it's caused me to not only reinvent myself, but also re-innovate myself, all right? So if I could stand up here as this tall, beautiful, 5'1" being that I am, anybody else vertically challenged up in here? I see, come on, all the shorties say, what's up? If you think I'm bold and bold and beautiful, because I am, look at all these feathers. You think I'm bold and beautiful now, you can only imagine what I was at the age of 3. Baby, look at her. She was sharp, okay? Super sharp. You see that hat? Y'all see that mean curl right there and that microphone? Baby, I knew that I was going to be something. I was the daughter of a senior leader at one of our largest churches in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm from the Lou, and I'm proud, okay? And my mom was the choir director at the church. And I knew that nothing was going to stop me. I was innovative. When I say innovative, I mean I knew how to make things up. I made anything come from what I call it, the J's. Well, my name is Jamie. I'm telling all my business. Everybody don't call me Jamie, but my name is Jamie. And I made this little cracker sandwich with peanut butter on one cracker. Then you put another cracker on it, and you put jelly on it. Then you keep doing it. It's a tower, and I called it Jamie's Delish, okay? So I was inventing things from a very, very young age, but I was slightly stifled because of my super religious family, okay? If there's anyone out here that lived in a religious family, we can all go to therapy later. Now, the story just continues as I got older. Y'all see this? That's a mean choir robe, okay? Y'all don't know, anybody know what a choir robe is? Okay, so I was using it as a costume on this here picture, but my mom was the choir director at a church that had about a choir it was a choir about 50 to 100 people, and I was so bold at the age of 7, I said, I want to be in the grown people choir. I don't want to be in no children's choir. I want to be in the grown people choir, and I want a grown people robe, okay? And so the grown choir people pitched in to get me a robe made for myself. And that's how bold I was. I was the type of person that also, my grandma used to take me to this store called Woolworth. Y'all know what Woolworth is? Every Saturday, and I would go get me some of them plastic clicker-clacker heels. Y'all know what those are? Where I would just click and clack all around the house, and I would break them every week, and so she'd have to go back and get me another pair because I was just that bold, that brave, that courageous, that creative. I always wanted to do something creative, rather it was be like Punky Brewster and wear a pink sock on one foot and a green sock on another foot. I wanted a rainbow bright cake. I wanted anything that was creative and innovative because that's who I always have been. Until puberty. Lord, have mercy. When puberty happened, it wasn't because just of puberty. It was also because it was right around the same time my father became pastor of his own church. Oh, my goodness. Let the drama begin. With me being so talented and a leader naturally, my dad put a lot of responsibilities on me as a pastor's kid. Not only was I now the choir director, I was also the piano player, the drummer, the toilet cleaner, the financial person, everything. I was leading grown people. But because I loved my father so much, and in our household, my father was pretty much like, I look at God from the Trinity perspective, and God is the head, and so my daddy was the head. So I revered my father just as much as I revered God. Now, that's a dangerous thing to do because then it can cloud your mind and your perspective on how you view religion, how you view spirituality, and also how I was scared of my daddy. Oh, God. Because my dad himself had his own set of trauma and triumph. He had a lot of things that he didn't talk about. My mom had a lot of things that they didn't talk about. But we, as the church folk, had to be prim and proper before we walked out that door. I don't care what happened in that house, what happens in this house. All the black people know that. Y'all don't know that, white people? That's what we say. That's what we say. We say, what happens in this house? Welcome to the culture, okay? So that's what we say. You don't tell nobody your business. So that's why therapy has been such a faux pas topic in a lot of our community, because we said we wanted to present a certain way. And because my dad was a hardworking man that worked tirelessly at a country club where he was treated pretty poorly as a black man. And this is why I look up, this is a very fuzzy picture, but it's the best one I could find of me really looking up to my father and revering him while simultaneously fearing him. Because when he got mad, he got mad. Yes, the pastor got mad, which then caused me to start perfectionism so that I wouldn't try to get rejected. That's when I started second-guessing myself. And then the more I second-guessed myself, it happened in leadership because my dad put me over grown people at the church. And if somebody left the church, it was my fault. If the choir didn't sing well, it was my fault. So that little girl who was fearless and clicking, clacking all around the house now became a second-guesser, a doubter, not knowing who she really was and who she was called to be. Even though deep down inside I knew I wanted to be this girl that's standing here today. Now, time progressed, and I kept doing things in the church, but then I also knew I don't want to do things in church no more. I don't like that life. I don't like that life. I didn't want it. I wanted to work what I called a real job, okay? I wanted to do something real, but my real still was pleasing my father. So I decided to go to school to learn how to do public relations, because I wanted to learn how to write grants to help my dad pull out of the denomination. This is real churchy. I don't know if y'all can handle this. But to pull out of the denomination he was in, I wanted to get him out of that, get a grant for him to get his own nonprofit organization, and I could set him up so he'd never have to be angry again. So now, not only did my decisions with all the other things in my life come from pleasing my father, now my decision on my career has now pivoted from being Punky Brewster, who I wanted to be all along. Now I want to be a publicist. For what? Because I wanted to raise funds for my nonprofit. It got so bad when I was in college that my advisor said to me, your portfolio is not diversified enough, because every project was raising funds for this, raising funds for that, doing this for this, helping my dad do that. I really wanted to make my father happy. But I found something in college that really made me happy. Actually, I found it in high school. I kind of snuck and did it because my dad didn't really want me to do it because he thought it was what the fast girls did. But I wanted to be a cheerleader. I love the little pleated skirts, okay? I wanted to jump. I'm not flexible at all. Don't ask me to do a split, but I'm short and I was tiny and they could fly me in the moon, and I just felt so free. Now, my dad never came to any of my games. He never saw me do that. But I actually went on in college and did cheerleading as well. It was one of the most fun things I loved to do. It was my escape. I felt like I was flying in the air. And so even in college, I lived in the cheer house for a little bit. That was interesting. But I did it, okay? And then I had tried out to be a cheerleader for a semi-pro team. And for a semi-pro team, then I said, maybe I can now be a cheerleader for the Rams. Who knows? But then guess what? The man that I met when I was only 11 years old, the only man to make my daddy laugh and kind of get under his skin, that he started going to our church, asked me to marry him. And in our upbringing, you only date to marry. And so he asked me to marry him, even though I really didn't think he could ever be my leader financially, spiritually, anything. He was just funny and fine, okay? All right, he looked good. He's 6'7", y'all. I'm 5'1". Give me some grace. So I said yes, primarily because my father didn't want us to have a long engagement, because he didn't want us to look like we was out there doing things we shouldn't have been doing. But we weren't. I was a virgin until I got married. but I went on and said yes to make my father happy. That was probably the worst decision I ever made in my life. So I got married at 20 and got pregnant 3 months after we got married, and I had my beautiful girl. Taylor Alyssa, looking like a little wet chicken right there. Why do babies look like that when they're first born? And we used to play with her arms when she first came out. This is how you know I was immature. I shouldn't have been a mom at that point. So I'm pulling her arms out, why is her head going like a chicken? I'm sorry, I digress. But I loved my baby so very much, and now not only am I people-pleasing my father, I've people-pleased my husband, I've people-pleased my professors, I now people-please people at work. I've put all of my things aside, and now I'm people-pleasing the one thing that came from me, my daughter. I wanted nothing more than to just be the best mom. I wanted to give her everything that my parents couldn't give me, and then some, because my parents gave me a great life. They did a lot of work to get me where I got, and I'm very, 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 very grateful. But I didn't want to give her the trauma that was attached to it, right? So now everything became about her, and I lost myself. I had a C-section. Anybody have that? Oh, Lord, the pregnancy does a doozy on women. And so when I went through my pregnancy, I lost myself. And then 20 years later, I was married to my husband for 20 years. I found out he had an affair. He had an affair with one of my close friends. And it really pulled the rug, like this one, right up from under me. And it was right around the time my daughter graduated from high school, so she had the opportunity to also choose to live with her father. In the game of good cop, baby, I was always the bad cop because I wanted my daughter to succeed in life. I didn't realize until after my ex cheated on me, and then, I told you I was getting in my business, cheated on me, and then my daughter left. I went to the grocery store, and I had a mental breakdown. She left. It's because she feel me, you feel me. I had a mental breakdown in a grocery store because I realized I lost myself and I didn't even know what I like to eat. I used to always get Captain Crunch. I don't like that mess. Doritos, I don't like them. I don't even eat beef or pork, but I would always just get whatever my family wanted. I had a breakdown in the store because I didn't know what I wanted. And this is how I knew I lost myself. That poor little I was probably crying right there. Look at her. She thought she was so cute. Shoes from Family Dollar. She was just really sad, y'all. She was very, very sad. And this is all very recent. This happened during the pandemic, right when I turned 40. Got married at 20. Got a chance to reinvent and reinnovate myself at 40. Now, here's the thing. There's a quote by Elizabeth Parker that says, "The only thing wrong with trying to please everyone is that there's always at least one person who will remain unhappy, you." So I started prioritizing myself. I'll go to the gym now. I drink my water, and I go on dates. I take myself on dates. I do things for me. I started my company for me. I pursue my music for me. I do everything that little girl that you saw on that first picture with the little microphone and little hat wanted to do. I do it for me because I realized by pouring into so many other people, I was empty. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. And the quickest way to change your life is to prioritize you. Can I get an amen in this place? The last thing I want to say is allow your pain to make you stronger. And we are all works in progress. You are worthy of living a life of your full potential. And it's time for you to re-innovate you. Thank ya.